Well, Donald Trump on a roll. What can we say? On a roll. Judge tosses Trump documents case, ruling prosecutor was unlawfully appointed. A U.S. judge in Florida on Monday dismissed the criminal case accusing Donald Trump of illegally keeping classified documents after leaving office, handing the Republican former president another major legal victory as he seeks a return to the White House. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, who was appointed to the bench by Trump, ruled that special counsel Jack Smith, who was leading the prosecution, was unlawfully appointed to his role. I'm sorry. It's just fucking like what an avalanche of shit for Democrats like these past couple of weeks. Like how, like if you're invested in the, if you're a Biden supporter, I mean, you just gotta be feeling so impossibly depressed now. Like just one thing after another after another. Like this is the worst string of political fortune I think I've ever witnessed. I don't think I've ever witnessed the campaign just implode like this. This is like that Coen Brothers movie. What's the movie? A Serious Man? Is that what it's called? About the guy who just has that string of impossible luck. And then he gets the bad medical diagnosis at the end, and the tornado bears down on the school.
I don't think I ever saw it.
You never saw A Serious Man? The Coen Brothers? Oh, you would love it. You would love that movie. That is right up your alley. Yeah, it's just about this guy who runs into some curse, and that's the Democrats right now. Just like every possible thing, one after the other. Who's leading the prosecution? Jack Smith was unlawfully appointed to his role and did not have the authority to bring the case. The judge found that U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, who named Smith in 2022 to oversee investigations involving Trump, did not have the authority to appoint a federal officer with the kind of prosecutorial power wielded by special counsel Smith. Cannon also found that Smith's investigation has been improperly funded through a permanent and unlimited fund Congress set aside in the 1980s for independent investigations. It marked another blockbuster legal triumph for Trump. Prosecutors are likely to appeal Cannon's ruling. Courts in other cases have repeatedly upheld the ability of the U.S. Justice Department to appoint special counsels to handle certain politically sensitive investigations. Trump, in a social media post, said Cannon's ruling should be just the first step and called for the dismissal of all 4 criminal cases against him. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system, Trump wrote. So, yeah, you got a little bit into this in the last segment. Mechanics of this being what they are, it's just one more W that this guy has put on the board. I've never seen a run like this. I've never seen it.
They're trying to get even the hush money ruling thrown out based on the Supreme Court finding of executive responsibility and liability.
The sentencing's already been delayed. It should have happened by now. It was supposed to happen on the 11th.
Right. They are considering throwing that entire case out, which I'm sorry, it would just be hilarious. The libs were so joyful about the 34 felonies.
Yeah.
And this is why I made that comparison on Jimmy's show to the Hannibal movie. Trump really benefits from his enemies. His enemies are so repulsive that you root for him. You root for him because it is so clear. And I think this is a big part of why they keep losing. Isn't it obvious they have chosen to weaponize the justice system against this man? And frankly, when you look beneath the hood, not for any good reason at all. They don't really think he's Hitler. That's for the retail investors of politics, the schmucks, the morons, the people who watch Morning Joe, the people who read the New York Times op-ed and don't realize the people who write those op-eds are laughing at them and wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. The people who think they're insiders because they read some shit in Newsweek that was written in this very insidery Washington camaraderie tone. That's who that's for. They don't think he's Hitler. They never thought he was a Russian plant. They voted to expand his spying powers while they were saying that he was a Manchurian candidate. They don't believe any of this. They have chosen to build him up into this incredible existential threat. They tried to do it with every other Republican. Trump, with his mean tweets and some of his less well-considered statements, was much easier to hang all of this on. Now, none of this is to say, what do you mean? All of his policies are great. Donald Trump's great. I'm not saying that. But their issues with Donald Trump are not the issues that they claim to have. Their issues are all the wrong issues. They're all the things that you might actually like about him, like less war. Oh,
right.
Maybe he'll actually try. He made noises in this direction last time too, as we'll see. Picking J.D. Vance is a sign that he might be going back to that original 2016 Steve Bannon run campaign roots of doing something for working people and common people. He didn't the first time around. Maybe he will the second time around. But the issues that they have with him are those things. Those are the things. If he actually went ahead and followed through on the best things that he talks about, that's their issue. The worst things he wants to do, on the cultural level, yes, they have some opposition. On the economic level, tax cuts for rich people, they don't care about any of that. And they certainly don't believe he's Hitler. He shows a little bit of independence of thought on the military-industrial complex. That is 90% of their issue with him.
Yeah, one thing that was very telling, and we're going to get to it in the next segment, so I'll just tease it now. It was really interesting when the Teamsters president was giving his speech, and he criticized the extremes in both parties for shutting out unions. Now, what he means by extreme Republican is the Mitt Romney wing.
Right.
But that's who these people think of as the moderates.
They have no problem with a guy like Mitt Romney.
Yeah, they have a completely distorted, shouldn't say distorted, it's different. It's fundamentally different. A different understanding of who's extreme and who's sensible.
Exactly.
And their problems with Trump are about what's sensible about Trump. That's not to say there aren't massive problems with Trump. Obviously there are. But their biggest problem with Trump, I brought this up on Jimmy's show the other day, I don't hold out any hope that he's going to broker peace, with Netanyahu. I mean, there's an off chance he's a wild card. It might happen. I don't even trust him to wrap the Ukraine war up. I really don't. I mean, he started talking like he was going to, and then he started talking, well, it's going to be a loan and not a gift. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. But the very act of engaging in some sort of even superficial diplomacy with people like Kim Jong-un, going to North Korea, shaking his hand, that soccer ball exchange, that Helsinki conference with Putin. Remember the meltdown? Amongst the liberal media and some of the more establishment-aligned right-wing media over that. He accepted a gift from Putin. Like, the fact that I think Trump, whether he likes other world leaders or doesn't, I think he sees them as agents to be negotiated with. And I think in establishment Washington, anyone outside the G7 is to be strong-armed. They are to be bullied around. They are not to be negotiated with. You don't shake their hand. You don't exchange gifts. You bully them around. That's our MO. And he did some of that. He assassinated the Iranian general. Like, he was not a dove. But he didn't give them the whole thing. I mean, that's the only thing that you really look at. That's the only determination to make. He wasn't that hostile to them. He just took a few steps out of line, which is more than they'll tolerate, apparently.
That's it. If you want to see what they wanted from Trump, go back and look at the news coverage the night he bombed Syria.
Right.
They all got out the knee pads. Van Jones, he became the president tonight. If he had just stayed in that vein, they'd love him. They'd love him. These are people who get weak in the knees when war criminal George W. Bush shares a candy with Michelle Obama at a funeral. They get weak in the knees. George Bush is acceptable in polite society, and Donald Trump isn't. Their issue is that he didn't create enough war. And as you point out, it's not even like he was a dove. No. You do not completely toe the line on what the defense contractors want, and you are a dangerous agent of a foreign power. That's how they're going to paint you.
Please clap.